Listen. When somebody is trying to poke at you, get a reaction out of you, or pull you out of your character, understand something. They're not testing your anger, they're testing your discipline. Anybody can snap, anybody can yell, anybody can lose control when they feel disrespected. But staying calm when everything in you wants to react, that's different. That's discipline. That's strength. Because anybody can control themselves when everything is going their way. The real test is who you become when somebody deliberately tries to bring the worst out of you. And here's what most people don't realize. Sometimes the person provoking you isn't trying to hurt you. They're trying to make you reveal yourself. They want to see what happens when they push the right button. Will you lose your temper? Will you say something you can't take back? Will you embarrass yourself? Will you become the version of yourself you've been trying to outgrow? Because the moment you react without thinking, you've given them information. You've shown them where the button is. And if they know where the button is, they know how to move you. That's why this isn't really about anger. It's about control. So today, I want to break down 5 principles that can help you stop giving other people control over your emotions, your energy, and your peace. Because once you understand the game, you stop playing it. 1. Understand what they're really doing. When you start paying attention to human behavior, you notice something. Not everything people do to you is actually about you. People project, people transfer, people unload. Sometimes somebody is carrying frustration they don't know how to deal with, and they look for somewhere to put it. And if you're calm, focused, or simply unwilling to participate in their chaos, you can become an easy target. But don't make the mistake of believing that every person who provokes you is secretly jealous or intimidated by you. Sometimes they're insecure, sometimes they're angry, sometimes they're immature, and sometimes they're simply trying to get a reaction because they know exactly which button to push. The motive doesn't matter as much as the lesson. They're trying to move you. That's it. They're trying to take you from where you are emotionally and pull you somewhere else. And the moment you let them do that, they have influence over you. Think about it. If somebody says 5 words, and those 5 words completely change your mood for the next 5 hours, how much control do you really have in that moment? That's why the first step is awareness. The moment you feel that heat rising in your chest, your voice getting louder, your body getting tense, stop. Don't answer immediately. Don't send the message. Don't make the phone call. Don't say the thing you'll have to apologize for tomorrow. Take a breath, because there's a small space between what happens to you and what you do next. That space is where your discipline lives. And the stronger you become in that space, the harder you become to control. 2. Your reaction is your responsibility. I've seen people destroy good opportunities because they couldn't control one bad moment, a relationship ruined over one argument, a job lost because somebody couldn't control their mouth, a friendship destroyed because pride wouldn't let two people walk away. And afterwards, you hear the same sentence: I shouldn't have let them get to me. But here's the truth: they didn't control your reaction. You did. They may have started the situation. They may have said something disrespectful. They may have pushed every button they knew you had. But once you choose your response, that part belongs to you. That's why emotional control is real strength. Not because you never get angry. You will get angry. Not because you never feel disrespected. You will. Not because nothing bothers you. Things will bother you. The strength is being able to feel all of that and still choose what you do next. That's the difference between emotion and discipline. Emotion says, do something right now. Discipline says, wait. Emotion says, make them feel what you feel. Discipline says, think about what this could cost you. Emotion wants the moment. Discipline protects the future. And your future is worth more than your ego. That's something you have to remember. Because sometimes Winning the argument means losing the peace you needed for everything else. Sometimes proving your point costs more than being misunderstood. Sometimes walking away isn't surrender, it's strategy. But here's where people get confused. They think staying calm means doing nothing. It doesn't. You can be calm and still set a boundary. You can be calm and still say no. You can be calm and still leave. You can be calm and still defend yourself. The goal isn't to become passive. The goal is to stop being impulsive. There's a difference. 3. Stop spending your energy on things that don't pay you back. Your energy is a currency, and most people spend it like they're rich. They argue with people they don't even like. They check messages that ruin their mood. They explain themselves to people who already decided not to understand them. They replay conversations in their head. They think about what they should have said. They imagine what they're going to say next time. And hours later, they're still fighting a battle that ended 5 minutes after it started. That's an expensive way to live. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every argument is a withdrawal. Every unnecessary reaction is a withdrawal. Every toxic conversation is a withdrawal. Every person who constantly pulls you into chaos is making a withdrawal. And eventually, the account gets low. Then you wonder why you can't focus, why you're tired, why you're irritated, why your motivation disappeared, why simple things suddenly feel difficult. Sometimes you don't need more motivation. You need fewer withdrawals. You don't always need more energy. Sometimes you need to stop giving away the energy you already have. That's a different way of looking at peace. Protecting your peace isn't about becoming soft. It's about becoming selective. Not every message deserves a response. Not every accusation deserves an explanation. Not every disrespect deserves a confrontation. Not every person deserves access to you. And that's not arrogance. That's maturity. You have goals that require your attention. You have responsibilities that require your energy. You have a future that requires your focus. So stop spending tomorrow's energy on yesterday's argument. Because here's the part people don't talk about. One emotional moment rarely stays one moment. You argue with somebody at 8 in the morning, and then you carry that argument into work. You carry it into your relationship. You carry it into your decisions. You carry it into the rest of your day. The person who upset you might forget about it by lunch, and you're still letting them control your mood at dinner. That's the real cost. They moved on, but you kept paying. 4. Silence is a strategy. There's a story I remember about a guy who used to have a reputation for always reacting. If somebody said something slick, he had an answer. If somebody embarrassed him, he embarrassed them back. If somebody raised their voice, his voice got louder. He thought that was strength. He thought people respected him because he was always ready. But there was one person in his circle who figured out exactly how to trigger him. Every time they were around other people, this guy would make little jokes at his expense. Nothing obvious enough to start a serious fight, just enough to get under his skin. A comment here, a joke there, a little disrespect in front of everybody. And every time my friend took the bait, he'd argue, he'd defend himself, he'd try to get the last word, and the other guy would smile because he got exactly what he wanted. One day, though, my friend didn't react. The guy made another comment. Everybody waited. But this time, my friend just looked at him. Calm, no anger, no speech, no comeback, just a small smile. Then he walked away. And something interesting happened. The room got quiet. The person who had been provoking him suddenly didn't look powerful anymore. He looked desperate because everybody could see the truth now. He wasn't joking because it was funny. He was doing it because he needed a reaction. And once that reaction disappeared, so did his power. That's something you need to understand. Some people aren't interested in you. They're interested in the effect they can have on you. They want to know they can make you angry. They want to know they can ruin your mood. They want to know they can pull you away from your purpose. And when you stop giving them that ability, the entire relationship changes. That's why silence can be so powerful. Most people think strength is loud. They think it's the comeback, the clapback, the argument, the moment where you prove your point louder than the person standing in front of you. But real strength doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it moves quietly. Sometimes it speaks by not speaking at all. Because ego hates silence. Ego wants the last word. Ego wants to respond to every insult, correct every rumor, defend every accusation, explain every misunderstanding. But wisdom asks a different question. Is this worth my energy? That's the question you need to start asking yourself. Because not every battle deserves you. Not every misunderstanding needs an explanation. Not every disrespect requires confrontation. And not every person who misunderstands you deserves access to the real you. When you're younger, you may feel like you have to prove yourself. You want people to know you're not weak. You want people to know they can't play with you. You want to make sure nobody walks away thinking they got the better of you. But eventually you learn something. Reacting to everything doesn't make you powerful. Sometimes it makes you predictable. And predictable people are easy to manipulate. If somebody knows exactly what they need to say to make you explode, they have a remote control for your emotions. Why would you hand somebody else the remote? Take it back. You don't have to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to argue with people who aren't looking for a solution. And you don't have to prove your worth to people who already decided not to see it. Sometimes, let them think what they want. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand you. Because your life is in a courtroom. You don't have to defend yourself against every accusation. Your results will speak for you. Your character will speak for you. Your consistency will speak for you. And sometimes your silence will say more than a paragraph ever could. 5. Choose growth over ego. There will always be people who test you at work, in relationships, in your family, online, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. You cannot control every person you encounter, but you can control what their behavior turns you into. That's the real battle. Not them, you. Your ego wants to prove something. Your growth wants to protect something. Your ego says, how dare they? Your growth says, what response serves me? Your ego says, get the last word. Your growth says, keep your peace. Your ego says, make them regret it. Your growth says, don't let them change you. That's maturity, because anybody can become angry. Anybody can become disrespectful. Anybody can match someone's negative energy. But it takes discipline to look at somebody who is trying to pull you down and decide you're not going. Think about the person you want to become 5 years from now. Do you think that person is going to be proud of every argument you won? Probably not. They're going to be proud of the moments when you had every reason to lose control and you didn't. They're going to be proud of the time you walked away, the time you stayed quiet, the time you chose your future over your ego. That's growth, because your future is built by the decisions nobody applauds. The decision not to respond, the decision to stay focused, the decision to leave the room, the decision to protect your peace. Those moments don't look powerful from the outside, but they're changing you on the inside. And eventually, people notice, not because you told them you've changed, but because they can no longer move you the way they used to. So the next time somebody tries to provoke you, pause, breathe, look at the situation for what it is, and ask yourself one question: is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, walk away. If you need to defend yourself with control. If you need to set a boundary, set it. If you need to leave, leave. But don't let somebody else's lack of discipline become your lack of discipline. because the real victory isn't making them angry. It isn't getting the last word. It isn't proving that you're tougher. The real victory is remaining yourself. When somebody is trying to turn you into someone else, that's the part people don't understand. Your emotions belong to you. Your energy belongs to you. Your attention belongs to you. And nobody gets access to those things unless you give them access. So protect your peace. Protect your energy. Protect your focus. And most importantly, protect the person you're becoming. Because every time you choose discipline over impulse, you're building yourself. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you're getting stronger. Every time you walk away from something that could have destroyed your focus, you're investing in your future. And every time you refuse to be controlled by somebody else's behavior, you're taking your power back. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay focused, not because you're afraid to react, but because you finally learned that you don't have to. That's strength, that's discipline, that's growth.